All right. We're rolling.
Push some buttons or something.
This bill legalizes sawed-off shotguns.
Hello, everyone. It is again time for ShiftLess. I believe it's episode 110, somewhere around there.
Sounds right.
Yeah, 110.
Who'd have thunk it?
Man, this is stupid. Absolutely nuts. And in the heat of the summer. But it's a funky summer.
I'm not even feeling it.
No, I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm feeling.
How many days in are you?
Let's call it, let's call yesterday's ride, let's call it 10 of,
Okay.
10 of 10 with
Did
a
you
few halves in the mix there. So it was more than 10 rides, but
Yeah.
yesterday was a full on, I was actually wanting to start here. So maybe we'll push it to later in the show,
That's fair.
but very, very happy with what I came across in my travels as far as heat acclimation and fitness
Very cool.
while I was out and about yesterday. No ifs, ands, or buts about it there.
Did you see who's here?
Who's here?
Mr. DJ Caleb.
Yay.
Back in the house.
In my haste.
Where's your horn?
I know.
Where's your horn?
It's at home.
What the hell?
In my haste.
Did you leave your phone at
I
the house?
left. I got out of the truck and I went, oh shit, I forgot my rap horn.
Yeah, you're free.
It's the best I can do.
The man's can't get you now. We got you all to ourselves.
Oh, no, he's still got a computer.
If you were to tell me that we would be riding bikes yesterday in the middle of July at 6:30 and it be pleasant,
Yeah.
Oh,
I would have told you were, well, we saw the storm. We got to Brad's right as the storm hit. I mean, it dumped. But on,
On the
way,
return, you
but
mean.
on the return,
Yeah.
just riding from east side to back here
It
was
great.
perfect.
Felt so good.
It wasn't, I mean, you could tell there was a little bit of humidity, but it wasn't awful.
Yeah. But we also had a headwind,
Had
too.
a cool headwind coming in from
Yeah.
the storm. Yeah, so I actually made it to North Shore yesterday, and as I was pulling up, I checked my phone, and they had literally closed it like 3 minutes before I had
Take a
put
low.
in.
Yeah, I saw that they had closed it unexpectedly from my end. We got a few showers or sprinkles in the middle of the night last night at my house. So I didn't even realize rain was popping up.
Oh. Yeah, I was at the bike shop at around 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
maybe, and it was pouring.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
it also had rained in the middle of the night before, too.
Yeah.
So, and North Shore got a little bit of rain that
Oh.
night. That would have been, what, Monday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, the night before
Or
Tuesday.
Sunday night. Sunday.
Well, the night before yesterday was Monday night.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're good with the calendar,
I know
man.
what day it is.
Damn.
Yeah.
Man.
But
But when I got to Velo, I sat in the truck for, I don't know, 5-8 minutes because it was pouring so hard.
gotcha.
I just sat in the truck and waited for it to let up a little bit. And then even once it found a little break and I went inside, it was still just pouring. And they've got that metal roof, so you can, or not a metal roof, but a flat roof. And you can just hear it while you're in.
Pounding.
Yeah. And you're like, God, I could take a nap with this.
In our neck of the woods, no, it was bright and sunny and hot and steamy all afternoon and evening yesterday. But I saw where Dallas was getting pounded.
Yeah, there
yesterday.
was a lot of standing water in Dallas.
Yeah, they were having their flash flood warnings, but it's all that was a mini version, basically, of the weather pattern. That just this one's got me.
It's weird.
This one gets at me. This Guadalupe River thing is.
It's crazy.
That was rough.
This is. I don't think I've ever been affected by a natural disaster as much as this one for whatever reasons. I
You mean emotionally?
Yeah, this one's hitting hard in numerous ways. Don't get me wrong. It's not. Whenever these tragedies happen, it sucks. There's no doubt about that, and I feel bad for people. But this one's feeling not geographically speaking, it is part of the mix, but it feels close to home.
Well,
Yeah.
especially since, I mean, even when hurricanes come through and you kind of, you stay up at night late and see, watching that, we were getting real time updates as it was happening via Twitter and Instagram and different things like that. Like, not the very moment that it happened, but within a couple of hours of it starting to take place, like we were sitting around our phones kind of following it, almost like every 10 or 15 minutes you would get different updates of how
Yeah.
bad it's getting. It wasn't, a lot of times like we see stuff like the flooding that happened in West Virginia or Tennessee,
North
Carolina.
North Carolina,
Yeah.
Like
Tennessee.
we're seeing because we're so far away of it, we're
Yeah.
seeing little bits as we check in on the news or whatever. Like my feed was inundated constantly because I guess I follow so many different types of
News
Instagram feeds that are coming at it. Well, I follow a guy that's a horticulturist down there. I follow a guy who's a painter down there. I follow
Yeah.
several cyclists that are down there, different types of businesses or whatever. And that's all they were posting about. And every one of them had their own unique view of what was going on. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
Way to start out the show on a down note, Kevin.
Start over?
I think
We
it
have to
bears-
recognize it.
I think it bears talking about because the reality is it's relevant to our world.
Oh, that's what I picked my phone up just to look at the weather today.
We-
Is there a chance of rain today?
Yeah, we always bandy about with weather is always a factor, but that's not an understatement. It is always a factor. And whenever we're doing these backcountry adventures,
You have to stay weather aware. Yeah.
you have to be cognizant of the weather situation and the possibilities, and you have to you have to keep your head on a swivel constantly along those lines, and that's and maybe that's where it kind of hits close to home for me, in that I can look at this one and kind of say, well, there for the grace of God go I, in that I can see getting caught up in a similar situation, but then I look at it, it's like, no, I wouldn't get caught up in a similar situation because the way my head works, I am weather aware, quite frankly, and I am.
Yeah, but that came out of nowhere. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw the floods coming.
But they did. So that's
What do you mean?
there was the potential for the flash floods was forecast a couple days in advance.
Mm.
And I'm not saying these people did anything wrong, because I guess that's what I'm getting at. The way my stuff operates, the way I tune into the weather and things like that, I can objectively look at it and go, well, based on the potential for flash floods at this point, and I probably would have made the determination later in the day Thursday, I'm not going to stay by a river that has a flash flood history to it myself.
But from what I understand from that area, flash flood warnings are a pretty common occurrence when they get a lot of rain. Not necessarily even the amount of rain. You don't have to have a 1,000-year rainfall to justify a flash flood warning. Apparently, they get them a lot because of the nature of the geography.
Exactly. And that's in a nutshell, that's what I'm saying. Because that is the nature of the geography and the flash flood potential is there, I would personally opt to not stay in an area that's prone to flash flood. I'm not saying I would have realized it was going to be to that extent.
Yeah.
But that's the type of thing where it's like, all right, you can't. Again, the margin for error is slim, sort of thing. So you're minimizing your chance. I'm not saying those people did anything wrong. I'm saying this is the way my crazy head works.
Mm-hmm.
I would have opted to not do it. Now, what mistakes were made, I'm not going there. I hope we learn properly from it. That's my biggest concern, quite frankly, because we're just now getting to I get it. When children are in the mix, it makes it even that much worse. My concern, quite frankly, is the focus is going to be at the camp level, the summer camp level, and the kids, and people are going to focus on what may have been done better there. The reality is, from everything I've seen so far as the summer camps go, it's only the one summer camp that there was loss of life.
Is that right?
That's all I've noticed so far. What we're really up against is we literally have hundreds of people still missing.
Yep.
Jeez.
And these are the people that are like us. These are the people that are staying at the RV campground. These are the people that were floating down the river on a kayak and wild camping along the riverbank.
But that was
Was that going on? Was there some?
Yeah.
It was 24 RVs that just got swept off their pads.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine sitting in an RV thinking, "Oh, we're safe"? I mean, and you're just in this capsule getting swept away all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm. So hopefully, it's all of these other incidentals, because the Camp Mystic loss of life is tragic. It's horrific. It's terrible. But I'm concerned people are going to focus on that. And of all the deaths and all the learnings, even though it's multiple deaths and a high number of them, it's one incident.
Yeah.
And if all the focus is put on how can we not have another Camp Mystic again, the reality is there were 100 other incidents that we need to care for all of them and make sure that those are addressed properly for these types of situations going forward.
Well, hopefully they get the whole early warning system figured out, and people can still enjoy that area and be able to go to sleep at night knowing they're going to be warned if something happens.
It works everywhere else. It works in the Swiss Alps for avalanches. It works in Hawaii for tsunamis. It works.
That's what's crazy. Justin Hilpenstill was telling us last night. Speaking of which, a month off of breaking his femur.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
And he rode with us last night.
How the hell did he do that?
Right.
I don't.
He's a freak.
He was, and here's the thing: it would be different if he's going, man, I'm in a lot of pain, but I'm gonna grit through this, right?
Right.
He didn't even. Now maybe he was in a little pain when he didn't tell us, but he never looked like he. You can see someone if they're favoring a limb when they're on a bike. You can see. I was riding behind him for a significant amount of time, and I was looking at his hips to see, like, is he favoring anything? I couldn't even tell which one it was at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was in a lot of pain, which is insane.
It's crazy. He may be a little bit more than a month off. I don't know.
It's a short period of time.
It's a super short period of time.
So, and forgive me, I know it was a bad break.
He broke his femur clean in half, but right below the socket, essentially.
So yeah, right.
They screwed the bone back to the socket is what they did with these.
Not to the socket, to the ball.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, the ball.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
To the head.
Yeah.
To the head.
And he was off crutches in like 8 days or something. It was insane.
I have heard of other people with breaks in that location, and I think that's the nature.
It's either good or bad. The recovery is either really quick or really slow.
Yeah.
But it depends on how well the bone fuses. Because sometimes Redmond was telling me there was a fear when he did his that the socket, the ball could die.
Yeah.
That piece of bone could lose circulation and deteriorate and just kind of crumble within the socket. And that could be a problem. But Justin has been, it's insane.
Well, don't forget, he was riding his bike 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I showed up to North Shore, and I'm getting ready.
2 weeks ago.
3.
Okay.
3 weeks ago was the first time he showed up rolling on his gravel bike.
ShiftLessLive@gmail.com. Tell us what you know about broken
Because I
fingers.
couldn't. I saw
And
him riding
Justin,
up.
if it's you, come talk to us, man.
Yeah. It was crazy. I mean, we didn't ride hard, but we rode moderate.
He put on a little bit of an effort on gravel bomb.
Yeah, he always does.
I know, but I didn't think he would.
Yeah.
It was so funny. I stayed behind his wheel because I was like, I'm not gonna put a dude freshly off a broken femur in the ditch.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna show some
He
respect
didn't even bring a ditch
and
pillow.
some seniority here. I don't know if he's older than me, but let's just say he is. I like making people think they are.
He is.
So I'm riding behind him, being respectful of. I'm not going to show out to the guy who's lucky to be even out here on a bike. And then fucking Adam comes flying by, not giving a shit. I'm like, well, okay, game on.
Adam. It was a good ride.
Yeah, it was.
Good ride. Yeah, I couldn't believe. But back to, he was telling me, where was I going with this? What were we talking about?
We were talking about the flooding.
We're talking about
They
the
said something
flooding,
about
and
early
then
warning or-
Justin's broken leg.
We were talking about the early warning systems in other areas.
But yeah, just a short story of that one. I think throwing the tornado sirens
Oh,
along the river.
tsunami. He was telling us about the Oregon coast when he was on the Oregon coast.
Okay.
Seattle, I think it was, Washington. That you're on a cliff overlooking the ocean, and then if you look on the other side of the road, maybe it was in Oregon. He said that there's like emergency trails that go up the side, and there's literally a target on there, and it says if a tsunami comes, you have to be above this level, and you have like 5 minutes to get there, or whatever he said, 8 minutes to get there. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I hadn't even thought about that concept.
And that's so. I mean, then that's an example of it. So the tsunami early warning system is a thing.
Yeah.
For whatever reasons, and the life-threatening tsunamis are fewer and further between than these Guadalupe River floods.
Well, the same thing happened in, what was it, 87?
Yes and no, the same thing happened.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, so yeah, so there was a big flood in 87, and quite frankly, I think that's part of what happened here is people were benchmarking to that. So the weather forecasts that they were getting were within, well, it'll still be within what happened in 87.
Yeah, but they still had to rescue like 50 people out of trees in 87.
It was because a couple of school buses got caught up in it.
Yeah, well, because they were trying to evacuate the camp.
Understood.
Yeah.
But where they got caught up in a very specific spot. So the locals knew that's where you don't go there when you get this level of flooding.
So they avoided that area and they got caught up in a different area. Is that what you're saying?
This flood was.
I don't know all the details.
No, I understand.
I don't know even.
And that's what I'm getting at.
An eighth of the details.
Let's say your local. We know the Grapevine Lake levels.
Mm-hmm.
At 542, North Shore's underwater. We know that. But if we didn't know what 565 looks like to the whole area until it happens, right? And that was their 542. Okay, we're operating that it's going to be 542. Well, it turned into a 565 type year for them.
Yeah.
It ended up, this was the highest flood. This was the highest flood level this is the record flood for all recorded time. And it went over the 1987 one by over 9 feet.
Jeez.
9 feet is a bunch.
Yeah, it's taller than me.
And it's, the difference isn't just the 9 feet of height. That's where 9 feet more of flooding, this goes from where it's flooding 3/4 of a mile wide to now it's flooding 5 miles wide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so this it's areas where people didn't think they would ever be at risk.
It was crazy. I read, and Caleb said now they're saying it was 30 feet that the Guadalupe rose in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That's just, I can't even fathom that.
I posted a video on my Facebook, my personal Facebook, not this ministry one. It's an unedited, I think it's at Kerrville at Center Point or something like that. It's from the minute, and the guy's up over a bridge. He's on a bridge looking down at the river, and it's from the minute the first little bit of water comes in, the river's almost bone dry.
Yeah.
It's running, but it's almost bone dry. And you see the first rush of water come in, and within 35 minutes, it was the water was going over the bridge, which was every bit of 30 feet, probably closer to feet up. And I'll put a link into that because I'd been looking for something like that, as opposed to the edited versions where how did this happen? How did all the pieces come? This is unedited, so you see the whole thing, and it's amazing how much difference it made in 35 minutes. But anyway, enough of that. I think the warning siren system is the right approach, quite frankly, because, like I said, it's proven to work in avalanches, tsunamis, and other flooding situations. They've been staying away from it down there because of the expense, and I guess whose responsibility is it? Is it the county? Is it the state? Is it federal? I don't know.
How expensive is an early warning system, though? I mean, it's
Well, there was a bill. Hold on, let me look it up so I know for sure.
I mean, the reality is
Same.
Kerr County is not the wealthiest county.
that's fair, but I
So-
mean, it's a text alert.
No,
No, it's actual like-
setting off tornado sirens.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Along the rivers.
Yeah, so you have to. That's what I meant by the early warning system.
For the record, I'm not playing dumb. I actually am.
No, that means I wasn't explaining it properly. So take our tornado siren system that we
Sure.
have here,
Yeah.
but just run those sirens up and down the river, and they go off for flood situations as
So
well.
there's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be put in order
Yep.
for it to be.
So and I don't want to get too political here, but it is what it is. There was a bill that was introduced in the Texas House for $500 million to, I don't know if the correct word is rebuild or to install or to improve, but basically a shitload of money to help with early warning systems for stuff like this. And they voted against it, including the representative from the Kerr area. And when they asked him about it, he said he didn't really read it into detail. Again, I don't want to be political. I'm reading his exact words were
I
that
would not have admitted that.
he did.
I
The
mean,
money was there.
No,
it was,
well-
and it was going to come. And to go into what Kevin said, the whole point of it, the state getting involved is because these areas don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the financial means.
Yeah.
So the state was going to come in and take care of their citizens, which is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. But also $500 million seems like the normal governmental exorbitant cost to line 100 people's pockets along the way. Like, you could get Bubba and Joe out there and do it.
Yeah, but
for
what you do is you don't say no
100K.
to the project. You find a way. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't just. That's the problem.
Yeah, you
is
say,
that-
yeah, let's do it, but let's
Let's
do it
figure
with
out how to do it.
100 million.
well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I
Or-
think that $500 million solution, that wasn't just for the Guadalupe River. That was statewide for all of the types of stuff
Oh,
that
okay.
was potentially.
Well, that makes a lot more sense. Sorry. I'm still on my first cup of coffee. Y'all forgive me.
Yeah, and
Let's
I
talk
mean,
about bikes.
let us talk about bicycles.
My heart goes out to all the victims and families and everybody affected. And it's, I'm sure there's businesses and everything down there is just in shambles.
Yeah, it's going to hurt a lot of those small towns too that have somewhat of a tourist destination for places along the river too, because they just got annihilated. It's bad.
So, Brad, what have you done bike related this week besides
Heat training continues.
heat training continues?
Yeah.
Give me the snapshot of what that was for you for the past week. Was there a goal to it, or just riding in the heat every day?
Just riding in the heat every day.
And are you riding to a specific heart rate, or are you just going by feel?
I mean, I've been staying in zone 2 pretty much, but I've been trying to put in more effort. Been trying to do a lot more standing on my bike. Finally changed out both of my saddles that needed to be changed out. On one of them on my Fargo, the one that was just worn slap out. So last night was my first ride on a new saddle, and I honestly forgot what it is.
It's not a Volt tie rail?
No, it
Okay.
is a tie rail, but it's a
Well, that's the important thing.
it's a company I can't remember the name of right now.
Fabric.
Maybe it is Fabric. It is a Fabric saddle.
They make really cool looking.
I've never even heard who
I
is
got-
fabric saddles. I don't
They
know.
used to come OEM on a lot of Cannondales,
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
and what they were able to do is the injection molding underneath the plastic. They could do it in colors that matched the bike. So when I
Ooh,
bought
well,
my
that's-
slate, I had the gray, like just the regular Battleship gray frame, and then it had orange accents, orange wrap, and orange something another on it. I can't remember what else it was. But underneath the seat, the logo was orange, and then underneath the seat it was black on top, and it was bright orange underneath. And they did that in a couple different colors. It was really good. It's a comfortable seat, actually. It's a really comfortable seat.
Mine's black. None that's blacker.
None more black.
None more black.
Okay.
Quick little sidebar. You throwing Cannondale in the mix reminded me of something I saw the other day. Somebody made a statement, or a question. Hey, what do you think of Cannondale bikes? Or da 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 da. And somebody responded, "Oh, the worst thing about Cannondale is everything they do is so proprietary." It's like that's kind of 20 years old.
Yeah.
Everybody's completely proprietary.
Yeah.
I don't think Cannondale's any more proprietary than anyone else at this time.
No, but the thing that a lot of people lose sight of is Cannondale historically, and not so much nowadays, although there's still shadows of this, but they were the company that was not scared to do wild things. And there's been a lot of trickle down through the bike industry.
Cannondale's going off the beaten path has kind of become the de facto standard on a bunch of stuff.
But Cannondale was they were at the forefront of all. I mean,
Yeah.
head shock. Remember the head shock? No, nobody was doing anything like a head shock. I mean, Redshift arguably wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the head shock. You know, they took head shock was first, and then Gervin did it with
With their suspension
their
stem.
no-lean suspension stem, and you know, there's so many weird things that Cannondale did, and the lefty's still around.
Lefty version 3's around now, and I hear good things about it.
They put a suspension fork on a gravel bike in 2017.
Yeah.
The downside to it, though, is it was only 27B, which that's why ultimately why I ended up getting rid of mine. But that was one of my favorite bikes I've ever owned.
I'll be honest with you. I keep expecting to see the return of the head shock on gravel bikes.
I think it has a place. I mean,
I think the head shock is the right solution for the gravel suspension. The most, a properly tuned head shock for a gravel bike, I guess is what I'm getting at. I'm shocked we haven't seen it yet.
I see what you did there. I'm shocked.
I thought Redshift already had one.
They have the stem.
The head shock is basically at the crown of the fork and the head tube. A suspension piece right in there.
That would very much affect the geometry of the bike.
Well, and that's the thing.
You'd have to have a frame specific.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
The problem with that is you can't decide, I don't want this fork. I want a different fork, because no other fork would work with those frames. Cannondale did make an aftermarket rigid fork that would fit the geometry of their head shock frames back in the day. But a normal run-of-the-mill fork would have made your bike basically slammed.
Why would a head shock be any different than just running a suspension fork?
Less moving parts, less
weight,
less
less
pervious,
less complexity, and probably less cost.
Yeah.
What about the ride?
Well, if it was
difference,
if it was done right, it could be beautiful. Like, think about if you could have just a single air collar that sat between two races, and you basically just have a balloon, like an air ride suspension, and it just sucks up the small bumps on the front. I mean, you think about a gravel fork, you don't need 80 millimeters of travel. You need 40 millimeters, but you need it to be smooth. You don't need it to bottom out and be harsh. You need
that's what the head shock did. If you hit something hard, it bottomed out.
Yeah. You need something that's linear, and when it gets to the height of its compression, it slows, and has a decent rebound.
Yeah.
So it would be...
Let me go get my patent real quick.
It would be a really cool solution, but I'm not an engineer, so...
Those saddles we were talking about that have the cool colors, the fabric, it's the fabric scoop.
That's what this is.
And they're in the world of quality saddles, they are extremely affordable.
Yeah.
$72 for this one.
I bought the titanium one secondhand off of Ham, and it was new, never installed. I think the original price was $125, and I bought it from him for $50.
Are you saying it was a hand-me-down?
It was a ham-me-down.
Oh my God.
And then I did get a Volt from Redmond to put on the Chumba to take the cambium. Yeah, because that saddle is cracked. The plastic or whatever was on the bottom, the rubber, was cracked on both sides. And I was like, as comfortable as this seat is, I don't want to be 4 days into hut to hut and my saddle give up the ghost. And I put new tires on the Chumba, the tires that I'm planning to run at hut to hut, 2.6 mezcal up front, 2.35 mezcal out back. And I put a couple of miles on that. My buddy's out of town, so I've been riding to feed the cows, doing that during the day as well. So...
Do you have a cow picked out for this year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When's due date for that?
November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you let her know?
I looked her in the eyes and I said,
You haven't named her, have you?
no.
Name her future burrito.
Hamburguesa.
How about you, Caleb? Any new bike stuff or toys or anything in your world that?
No, I rode yesterday for the first time in over a week. Just been with a shortened week last week, and was in and out of town, family events in Tyler and different stuff. I plan on riding today around.
I saw that.
noonish
I
or
saw
so.
that picture of you and Biscuit. No, that was cute.
Yeah. Wait, what picture of me and Biscuit?
With the stand up.
Oh yeah.
At Cross.
That's where we were at Cross's. Yeah. That was back in the early spring. We went down there to see.
Oh, you
see
just posted
Willie.
the picture.
Yeah,
the other
forgotten.
day.
I'd forgotten about it. Yeah. No new toys. No new.
So
I did clean out my drivetrain on my single speed yesterday.
okay.
Took it apart.
It's a very
and-
complicated drivetrain system.
Good Lord.
So
Well,
many parts.
my thing is just I'm worried. The reason why I called you is I was like, this doesn't seem like the right way, and I'm worried I'm gonna remove something. Like I'm worried I was gonna break something.
You need to go Occam's razor when you're working on your bike, especially when
Yeah.
it's a single speed.
I know.
If you have to get out a spanner wrench, you're probably not doing it right. That's the thing.
Well, you have to get a spanner wrench in order to loosen that cap.
No, you don't.
Yes, because if you don't loosen the cap just a slight bit, the bolt on the inside won't spin because that cap is pushed up against it. It's got to be able to spin.
Let's be a little more specific. What?
My Wide Industries crankset.
Okay. Thank you.
It's got an end cap. Am I wrong in that?
Okay.
Okay.
But so shiftlesslive@gmail.com if you want to tell Caleb
I'm
or
def-
Brad how they're wrong.
No. I'm not telling Brad he's wrong at all. I'm not going to argue with someone that's been working on bikes. He's so old. He's been working on bikes long.
I was just trying to get a sense of what we were talking. You guys knew what you were talking
So
about.
there's
Nobody
a
else?
little on each side of those Wide Industry cranks with the lock bolts on the inside. I didn't know that you don't. Apparently, you don't take that end cap off completely. You loosen it up slightly so that when you put your number 8 on the inside, and you loosen those cranks, that bolt has something to push against to self-extract.
Self-extracting.
But if that end cap is on there tight to where it's pushing up against that bolt, then that bolt can't spin up, move up against it, unless you're saying there's automatically a gap between the two.
Yeah, there's a slight gap. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. I took it all apart and cleaned it out anyway because
Okay.
it was filthy. And
Yeah.
I had a weird, ever since I had that wreck on North Shore, I've been having a weird knock
Okay.
when I'm on the downstroke of my non-drive side.
Okay.
I'd already changed the chain, thinking I kinked the chain, and that didn't help it.
Okay.
So a lot of times what I've noticed with that crankset is if you don't keep it, not pristine by any means,
but not gunked up.
but if you don't keep it routinely at least washed off, it gets very gritty and very loud.
Did you check your chain ring tightness when you had it removed?
Yeah.
You checked. There's 3.
Yeah.
Was it a T25 on the inside?
No, it's not like that. It's a lock bolt,
It's a lock ring.
and I tightened that down.
So-
It wasn't loose though.
Yeah.
Or have we been able to determine if it's better now?
Well, I took it to North Shore, pulled up to North Shore, and then that's when they closed it. So I hooked it back to the house, swapped bikes.
So
I have not ridden it.
so
yet.
no.
Maybe
Let's just-
maybe I'll take it today.
Okay.
And ride it on the road.
I am most assuredly interested in the follow-up on
Did
that.
you bring a bike today, Kevin?
I did not.
You son of a gun. It's okay. I've got to go. I got to go look at a space. I had a beautiful opportunity get thrown at me yesterday.
Space isn't real.
I had a company reach out and they want to do a pasta class for 35 people.
Okay.
And I'm like, yes. Let me figure out where, because I
Okay.
can't do it here. So I'm going to look at a space today. I'm trying to figure out where to do it, because I'm going to relay the cost to them anyways. But I can't rent a place for $1,500, you know.
Understood.
But and I reached out to remember Trace Arnold that we toured his commissary kitchen. I reached out to him yesterday, and I haven't heard anything back from him. But he's a super busy guy. But we're going to view a venue that's right down the road, because it's on a Tuesday night, and so I was like, this is a great problem to have.
The place down by the interstate or
Yeah,
something?
the
Okay.
table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to look at that.
Are you familiar with them already?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask you about that.
Yeah.
But let's get back to bikes real quick.
Oh, you asked about shiny new stuff.
Well, we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Okay. And
I want to talk to Caleb because he hasn't been here.
well, hold up. I was interrupted when I was talking about me. It's all about me.
More Brad.
Have you looked at the pitchfork aero bar system from Revelate?
Yeah, I talked about this a year ago.
He talked
did
about it a year ago.
Yeah, when Lael was
He's
using
the,
it.
he's the one that brought it to
I
your
love it.
attention.
It looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I have concerns about. Notice how short it is. It's not as long. It's not like you took your front roll.
I hear that all the
and-
time.
It's not about length; it's about girth, isn't it?
That may be true.
But when I look at the picture, all I'm trying to determine is, will my sleep system fit there?
I think it. Hold on. Let me pull it up here because I'm pretty sure you can figure out how to make it work. But
And it has bags on both sides.
look how short though.
Oh, I'm looking at it.
Okay, my concern is
I'm
that
glad
is,
you're showing me your computer.
look at my computer.
I'm able to see that.
It looks
So,
smaller
Kevin,
over there.
Here, I think this is a really cool idea. I think that
So
if you but
basically,
trying to
you're saying the sling between the arrow bars is too short.
I'm saying that that you can't pack as much in this front row bag facing forward what
as you could side to side.
because the longer you get and the more weight that you have up front, the weirder your steering is, especially on a bike that weighs 55 pounds.
I guess it depends on what's packed in there. Though.
Yeah, but obviously there's no, I mean, look at this. Look how short this is. Obviously that is much shorter than what would fit. I am getting to Brad's point. I don't think Brad can fit his tent in there. I don't think there's enough room.
I think I can though.
I mean,
Do you have your stuff sack and everything so you can, when you tear the tent down, we can see what it, or you're not going to tear it down?
I mean, I can.
Okay, I'm just curious.
My thought process is, I don't want to move my hoods from where they are, and I don't want to impede my shifting and my comfort up there. And I'm going to run aero bars anyways, so I would much rather have that system and have the ability to stuff snacks on the sides of it and stuff for a race across Texas. That's why I'm looking at this exclusively for race across Texas.
I think you're both wrong, and I think you're both right.
Are we both pretty though?
You're both gorgeous.
Yeah.
I would
But-
say now's the time to buy it, stuff it, and start riding it.
Well,
and see how your
so that's the
performance
thing.
bike feels.
If you buy it with the specific intent, that's where my tent's going. I can see where Caleb's coming from. It could be that it doesn't work for the tent.
Yeah.
But if you buy it and say this is storage space that I have, and between now and October, well, the tent's actually going to go in the saddlebag. I'm going to put my clothes in up front,
Yeah.
or whatever else.
Are you still planning on going half frame bag? Or are you
Yeah.
going to go full?
No, I'm going.
See, that
well,
makes it-
I don't know though.
See, I mean, you probably could get away with using that thing if you have a full frame bag, because then you have a little more space. I'm just concerned. I don't know what we need Dr. Josh Dean to tell us the physics. What is it in physics when the weight distribution of something is set further away from its pivot point that
Yeah.
you're not, I mean, the drawing.
It's a pendulum effect.
But I'm not talking about putting 7 pounds out there. I'm talking that tent weighs, I think it's
2 pounds is what.
2 pounds.
Look, buy it and see if it works. I would love to see it. I'm interested in it, but
Yeah.
this right here, look at the amount of weight that is shifted to the front
Yeah,
of
that looks
that is
weird.
concern.
That looks weird.
But that's
That's what it's going to look
this
like.
thing. The bag is 12 inches. When it's rolled up twice and buckled in, they say it's about 12 inches.
Again, but it's all about the weight distribution.
Right. What's in it?
Yeah.
And
It's just
if the floor of the tent is stem side, and that's where the concentration of the weight is, it may still work.
Yeah.
So we're really getting in the weeds here.
this
but
would be great for hut to hut.
I'm not carrying anything on my handlebars.
I'm just
for hut to
telling you.
hut.
I'm just using as an example.
Yeah.
You're not needing, and I think like that's why Lyle Wilcox uses it and is so successful, because she's not carrying a tent, right? She's carrying a bivvy. So there's no tent poles, there's no rain fly, there's no shell of the tent. So
Yeah.
I just think it's going to come down to two things: your personal preference and the application.
Yeah.
I think it's cool as shit. I remember when I first saw this, I freaked out and thought, "Oh, this is amazing." It was before I thought about weight distribution going forward in front of the bike as opposed being perpendicular to the handlebars. I'm sorry, parallel to the handlebars.
I think it's going to be perfect.
We'll buy it.
I'm more inclined to get it now.
It's actually for all of the things that it does, it's
Mhm.
actually a fairly decent price as far as bike
Yeah.
packs goes. 160 is not. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it. What are you laughing at?
Oh, just the. Oh, that's not a lot of. That's a lot of money.
I meant relative to other bags that has this many.
I get.
Look
no,
at
I
all
get
of
that.
look at all the labor that goes into putting that together. All the different
No, I get that.
the mounting points, all the shock cord, all
Yeah.
the sewing that it goes with the pockets.
I'm not saying it's not worth the money. It's just it's not a lot of money.
I think-
all this bike packing that's not a lot of money adds up to a lot
It
of
does.
money.
Oh,
I do
That's-
think that there's more economical ways to.
I'm just-
You sound like you're really interested in the side pockets.
I am.
So, I've been ever since I did the rat the first time. I've been wanting to figure out a way, and this is where our boy Dan, who likes to sew, could come in.
Mm-hmm.
When I had my front roll, between my front roll and my handlebars, there was enough gap. I'm sitting there when you're riding for hours and hours. You're just thinking of shit, and I'm looking. I'm going, that's wasted space. How can we need to? I think it's more of just like pouch.
Yeah.
Or I've seen people do this before, where they actually put feed bags in between there too. It's got feed bags on drinks.
Have
on the
y'all
front
seen
and-
the new Grizzel expedition
Oh
that
my
came
God.
out?
The canyon?
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to get
Okay.
there. But so I would love to run my pronghorn, but herein lies the problem. I love where my hoods are. And currently my hoods are too narrow to run that pronghorn. Like on 4R, when we did the 4R deal, I had to take 2 Velcro straps and put it around my bag after I had my sleep system in there and ratchet it down just so it would fit in between my hoods. And that's not something I want to do every day on the rat. I would much rather have it where I can throw it in this stuff sack, shove it in that little burrito hole, and call it a day and let's get on the move. And I'm not going to be, it's going to be October. How much insulation do we need? Are you going to carry a sleeping bag?
Is it bigger? Is the distance between your hoods greater than 12 inches? It's got to be.
No.
100% is.
Maybe. We can measure it.
If it's wider than 12 inches, then really there's no point in getting that other bag. Because then you're actually losing space. Because that bag only goes to 12 inches long. Whereas the pronghorn bag goes up to what?
Well, when we cut this, we'll go measure.
Okay.
Because, and this brings us to...
Episode 111, Brad and Caleb measure each other.
You better get an extra long tape measure, buddy.
Can we do metric?
Okay.
Asking for a friend.
Before we get too far off,
No, wait,
base,
hold up. I was going to take this one other place. Because have you seen the new UCI standards for hoods?
Okay.
Yeah, you can't.
They can't be closer than
They can't be canted in.
32.
Well, what does that have to do with us riding across Texas?
I'm just saying, I was going to say, I think my hoods now are like at the UCI minimum.
No, your hoods are 16, 17 inches
All right.
apart.
You're crazy.
Where I've been trying to go for the past 10 minutes, where Brad just had to talk about Brad stuff.
I'm sorry. I thought I was part of this podcast.
So we know Brad's got Hut to Hut and Rat in the mix.
Yeah.
Sorry, my friend Caleb, I'm out of touch with your world because you don't visit here very often, and I
don't
don't
feel
visit.
bad.
No. Brad's dialed into what's going on in Caleb land. I'm not.
Okay.
And I guarantee
really
you,
not.
I'm an open.
I guarantee you the ShiftLess listeners are not either. Do you have any trips in the works, or are you rat focused generally speaking?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything on the calendar other than Midnight Massacre, to be honest.
Okay, but no.
Oh well, I am going to Colorado in a couple of weeks, and I'm going a day earlier than I expected. I'm going to ride with Nick Legan and from Shimano and my cohort that works on Shimano. We're going to meet in the Nederland area, but that's a 1-day thing.
Okay. But as far as journeys / adventures /
No,
you're rat oriented
Yeah.
right now. And I asked this because you said you've only ridden your bike once in the past week. So
Caleb's a freak athlete. Though.
I know it takes 2 rides and he's back to form.
Because I'm doing almost a week off for Colorado, then a week off for family vacation in Pensacola. I'm also just like kind of tapped out on days off.
Sure.
No, I wouldn't say I've got getting anxiety over it is definitely not the right word. It's definitely been a slight point of stress in the back of my mind going, I need to be riding my bike. I need to be riding my bike.
Okay.
But I don't know how I keep getting busier.
And what bike are you riding on the rat this year?
I'm taking the Cutthroat for sure. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Brad's going to order that new, what's that thing called? What's that slingshot? What's the front rev?
Pitchfork?
Pitchfork.
Brad's going to order the Pitchfork, and I'm going to order I'm really thinking I need to do the 16-liter spine lock. I have the 10, and I don't know why. Before the spine lock.
What's the spine lock?
The spine lock is the saddle bag that has the anti-sway.
Oh, okay.
And it comes in 2 sizes. It comes in the 10-liter and the 16-liter, which I think that's a bad increment. The original, was it Terrapin? That was the Terrapin was in the back. I believe it was
10 and 14.
10 and 14.
I say 12 to 14.
Or 12 to 14, or something like that.
12 to 14's always kind of been my sweet spot.
So 16 seems really large, but I can tell you that 10 is going to be too small for the rat. Especially if I could make it happen, I would be shorting myself warm clothes. You were asking me something earlier about packing. What were you asking me?
Yeah, it was like, how much insulation are you planning on carrying for your sleep system?
So,
like, are you going to carry a bag?
Sleep system's going to be a Tyvek ground sheet, which is also not only a ground sheet for your tent, it's ground sheet for changing clothes. It's anytime you need to step on the ground and the ground's not good to step on with your shoes off. I'll be using my Nemo Hornet 1-person ultralight tent. I will be using a Thermarest X Neo Light or whatever it's called.
Can we go back to your ground sheet real quick? Because I have ground sheet questions. So do you have grommets on your Tyvek? Did you punch holes and do grommets?
No.
So how do you stake it?
It's underneath the tent.
You put the tent on top of it.
But I get what you're saying. If I'm going to be camping in the same place for maybe a couple of days, I would consider doing that. But if I'm getting my tent set up to immediately get in to sleep, to immediately get out and pack up, I'm just going to stake it down on top. I'm going to stake the tent over the top of it. That's what I normally do.
Yeah, you throw a saddlebag or whatever in the tent and you're good to go.
Once you put the tent on top of the ground sheet and you stake your tent down, ground sheet's not going anywhere.
This is me being ignorant because I don't.
I'm used to it. It's okay.
I'm not a tent camper. So the one thing I did not get when I ordered this was a ground sheet.
You didn't get a footprint.
Yeah, and so I'm on their wait list for a ground sheet that's specifically
Bikepacking tip number 1, always get the footprint when it's available.
It wasn't available.
Because it does make your life ultimately easier, but it's not a requirement.
But I do have an entire roll of Tyvek.
So here's
and then
my
I have
thought on
Tyvek
that.
tape and I have a grommet kit. And that's what I was thinking about doing.
One of the areas that you can 100% save a shitload of money on is a footprint for your tent. But matter of fact, I don't even own a regular, I think I do for my large tent maybe.
But Tyvek's so loud. That's the thing.
No. Once you're laying on it, you don't hear it.
Yeah.
No, you don't hear it at all. The thing about the Tyvek is it's super, super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
It's way more durable than any tent footprint.
Yeah. It's basically like a FedEx envelope.
A tent footprint is just it's just a slightly thicker layer of the same material you're trying to protect.
Yeah.
Like eventually footprint, I've had the same Tyvek ground sheet since 2018.
Yeah.
The exact same one. And it holds up. You can't even, other than some dirty spots, you can't even see worn spots on it. It's lasted that long. Find me a footprint with the amount of camping that I've done.
So did you have to do 2 pieces of Tyvek?
No, I've laid down on top of it and Kay measured 1 inch wide from my shoulders. And it was ended up being about the same width as that tent. So it's slightly smaller than my tent. What I would have done in hindsight, I might have cut it a little bit larger. What I would do is I would just cut it. I'd cut it the same width as your wide part. We'll talk about your tent in a minute. I know that's what you want to talk about. But instead
it's not about me. What does Kevin want to talk about?
Instead of tapering it, just run it across, and so now you have a Tyvek dry spot to put your stuff in.
That's what I was thinking.
Now the downside of Tyvek is...
But my Tyvek is only like maybe 28, 32 inches wide.
You can go find some 4x8 Tyvek.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. I want to say I found a website or maybe Amazon that sold it in small sheets.
But what I was going to do is use what I have, because I also have a roll of Tyvek tape, which is specifically for Tyvek.
Oh, and just tape it together.
And I was going to run 2 pieces side by side.
Yeah.
That way it's easier to fold
Yep.
too.
Yep.
And then I was going to measure it to where it went pole to pole to pole and put holes in it and make grommets. And so when I staked down my tent, when I put my poles in,
Yeah.
it would just be there.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I didn't have a grommet machine and or punch and any other
Yeah.
stuff, so I didn't worry about it. But the only other downside is you can't like stuff it in a stuff sack. You have to fold it. Or what I've done before is I folded it to where I folded it lengthways to where it's about maybe, I don't know, 10 or 12 inches wide.
Yeah.
And then I would roll it loosely and slide it into my front roll and use it as an outer barrier,
But not your back roll.
but not my back roll.
Yeah.
And then I would stuff in between that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's inside my front roll, like
Yeah.
on the exterior of everything.
Okay. I think every time I've been with you, you've camped in a hammock, so I haven't seen your Tyvek setup. I just remember going with
Yeah.
Shannon one time
Yeah.
when we first started messing with Tyvek, and I just remember it was so loud. We cussed him. We were just like, "God, could you
Maybe
make
It may not be loud to you, but man, whenever I've been around people sleeping on Tyvek, it's loud to me.
Yeah.
Okay, this is maybe we're thinking of different materials because my stuff literally makes no noise. It's almost got a cloth feeling on the outside.
Yeah, but have you? So the thing I've understood about Tyvek is if you throw it in the washing machine and wash it, then all of that goes away. That
Are we even-
noisiness.
I don't even know. I don't understand what we're talking about here because my stuff makes zero noise. And
It's called Tyvek. We're talking about the same thing.
I know.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and be the different guy again. My experience has been that the best solution, the ideal solution is typically the recommended footprint for the tent. But that said, if the recommended footprint itself is $200, no, I'm not going to shell out $200 for a footprint.
I think
but
the Dursten one's like 45.
Oh, you know what? Mine came with grommet holes. I didn't even realize it. I bought an 8 foot by 4.5, essentially 4.5 foot Tyvek, and I paid. Oh, it's unavailable, so I don't know what I paid for it. But it's that material.
Tyvek.
Yeah, that doesn't make any noise. That made zero noise.
does it say it's Tyvek or does it say something else?
This is Tyvek house wrap by DuPont, and
Okay.
it's got the Tyvek.
Well, beyond that, so the two puzzle pieces I still have to figure out is insulation. Like I said, like, am I
Yeah.
going to bring a sleeping bag?
Yes.
But hold on. The sleeping pad is the other major thing. Like ground sheet and sleeping pad are my two major things that I have to, and I want something that has a loft for comfort, but I want all of the things here. I want loft for comfort, but I want something that's light and packs down small.
Your best bet is that
The Neo,
the X Neo.
X Neo.
It's the newer one. It's
Is that
a little-
Thermarest? That's like 200 bones.
Good, fast, cheap.
Yeah.
Which
that's
one do you
true.
pick? Two.
That's true.
I don't know of any insulated sleeping pad that doesn't make noise. Like you guys are talking about all the noise Tyvek makes. Let's talk about all the noise a sleeping pad makes.
Sleeping pad.
Because my sleeping pads
Sleeping
sounds
make noise
like
too.
popcorn
Yeah.
going off in the middle of the night.
Really?
Yeah.
Thermarest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Z-Lite? Neo Air X-Lite?
That's it.
All right.
That's their newest one that is the lightest one.
Yeah. $199.
Is it available through your
Oh, through Expert Voice?
Yes, it is. I believe Expert Voice is. I believe it's on there. If not, just go to REI. Do you have an REI account? Do that, and you're going to get $19 back.
Yeah.
That stuff adds up.
it adds
You
up.
want to know the year after I did RAT? Do you want to know how much REI dividends I had?
$400.
We're waiting.
I had close to $1,000.
Good God.
I know. Yeah, I went crazy that year.
Hmm.
Yeah, we bought a brand new tent, 4-person tent with that. We bought a camp stove with that. I can't remember what all we bought out of those dividends. That was amazing that year.
My latest REI dividends perk. It didn't cover all of it, but it covered a significant portion of it. So I broke down and got the Kuat ramp for the e-bike for that Envy.
An attachment that
Yeah.
that goes like, and how does it attach to the?
That
back?
I haven't unboxed it yet
you haven't?
because ever since I bought the damn thing, I haven't
And
ridden
does
the
it
e-bike.
like once you put it on the bike, does it attach to the rack?
No, you carry it in the vehicle and just attaches to the ramp. It's a ramp that goes.
I've always wondered, like, some of those bikes are super heavy, and some people don't look like they can pick it up.
It gets and with when I switched over to the Envy rack, it sits probably a good 4 to
That's
6 inches.
uncomfortably high to lift a heavy bike.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And so I went ahead and I was going to buy it direct from Kuat. I want to say it was like $98 or something like that, which I really didn't want to go that far.
Could you have substituted that bike ramp for a Tyvek sleeve?
People do like cut PVC in half.
I'm
do
sure
things like
mountain
that.
bikers tend to
So
be pretty.
it's like, I looked, you can buy it locally here. And some of the local Trek stores had it, but they were wanting like $130 for it, whereas Kuat's selling it on direct for $98. It's like, I wonder what's going on. And it's like, well, let me check REI. REI 98 free shipping can be there tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, you have $48 in dividend.
All right, there you go. And I think also I've got the REI credit card. I think you get double.
I don't have the REI credit card.
I did it.
I understand. I
needed
that.
That was the only way I was that year in 2018. That was the only way I was going to be prepared for the red is to buy a credit card for it.
But this Thermarest pad, it only gets down to the size of a Nalgene bottle. That seems big.
For a decent pad?
No, that's
I don't know.
That's
good. Pretty good.
When I have the one right below that, or the up until that one, the one that I have was
the Premier.
The Premier or Premium one.
Yeah.
And it's yellow.
This one's yellow.
Let me get to it.
I might have I may actually have one of those. I have some extra sleeping pads. I'll put it to you that way.
But you have the big boys.
I have the Nalgene bottle-sized one. Let me see what I have an X-Ped one, and I think I have a Thermarest one.
Sorry, Brad. I have the Neo Air X Lite, the yellow one. The newer one is the Neo Air X Therm. That's the one
I'm looking
That's
at
the
right now.
smaller one. But let me tell you, the other thing is you're going to have to get the long. Unless you're okay
And I have the long.
with your feet hanging off, the regular sleeping pad is 72 inches long. Where our feet are going to hang
That's
off.
6 feet.
So you buy the long, and even at the long, I think it in its roll. Look here, it's this wide and about that big around. It's really not that big considering.
It's 1 pound 4 ounces though.
Which one?
For the large.
Yeah.
What's the length? 77 inches.
Yeah. I mean, you can.
And you only drop 1 ounce from going from a 77 to a 72. Oh, that's with the wide. Oh, my bad. That's with the wide.
I know I have the wide.
So the regular is 20 inches wide. That seems really narrow.
There are people who prefer the short. Matter of fact, there is a company that makes shorter insulated that comes just right below your ass end.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind your feet slightly hanging off, you may be okay. But like you said, you're only getting how many grams less?
When you go from the large, which is what you're calling the long, it's 25 inches wide, and then you go to the regular, which is only 20 inches wide. So you lose 5 inches on the width and you lose 5 inches on the length because it's only 72 inches long. You go from 1 pound 4 ounces, which is 20 ounces, down to 15.5 ounces.
Yeah.
So that's 5.5 ounces. But it's not like we're going to be Everesting every day either, where weight is that big of a factor.
Yeah. I would think I need to do a comparison between the R value is 7.3 on the.
I think I'm just going to go to REI and blow up all their sleeping pads and lay on them.
Well, good luck because they don't have. You're only going to be blowing up maybe one or two. When you
Hopefully.
when you look at their selection, they have a lot of very very palatial. Because the R value is quite a bit different. Never mind. That newer one has a 7.3, and the one I have has a 4.5, which is significantly.
Yeah.
Check the X-Ped ones. They're ultralight ones. I think I have one. I think I have one of those, and I think I have the Thermarest one.
Well, no offense, but I don't want to borrow a sleeping pad from somebody, first of all, because I don't want to be the guy that tears it up, nor do I want it to fail me in the middle of the.
Well, if anything,
What I'm getting at
you
is
could
if
test
you
it.
want to try them out.
Okay.
Good God, Bradford! Look at you overreacting again.
There you
you're
go.
so
there you go.
high
There
maintenance.
you go. Not let me finish. I was gonna say I would love to try it out and then purchase said pad,
I may sell them to you.
but that's what I don't want a used one.
It's not. They're not. That's my point. They're not used.
Okay. X-Pad. I'm looking for their ultralight one.
There's the backpacking one. The
Anyways,
Ultra Air one. Oh, here's a one.
I found myself looking for sleeping pads, and I was more lost than I ever have
I
been.
understand, and that's
Because there's a gazillion sleeping pads
so
out
you can
there.
Use. I think experiencing one that's the base. You have to start there,
Yeah.
as opposed to buy these specs. This is
one
what I
comes in
want.
teal though.
Well, that's the important
It
thing.
really is. And it's a women's.
All right, so Brad still has to find everything for his rat trip.
Not true.
You're mainly focused on the saddle bag at the moment.
I think that's the only thing. My coming into this year, my biggest concern was updating or upgrading my dynamo hub, but it turns out I'm plugging my phone in to when we were doing the 4R run. It was charging it fairly well. The theory is that the newer phones with USB 3, it's just not enough power.
It's not enough to push through.
But it is pushing. It's just going kind of slow. The other thing is I did buy a couple of years ago. I bought
You're not just going to get the Grizzel 8?
I'm not going to buy a new bike.
No.
Just bought a new truck. That's not in the cards.
Episode 110 brought to us by Canyon.
I would it would hurt my bikes. It would hurt my Cutthroat's feeling if I bought a Grizzel.
That Cutthroat served you so well too.
I can't let her go, buddy.
Yeah.
I can't let her
That's
go.
how I feel about my Fargo.
Yeah, I get it. We have those attachments.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't need to do the
So hypothetically, if Canyon wanted a real good breakdown of the Grizzel versus Cutthroat and a Fargo, I wonder where a good spot to send one might be.
I would ride that Grizzel.
Yeah.
I watched bikepacking.com. I always forget that guy's name.
I never remember. It's Miles, isn't it?
I think
Miles Arbor or something like that.
I like him, but not enough to remember his name, obviously. But the breakdown, it was like one of those things where I was like, oh, cool, a new bike. And then as he listed off the features and highlighted them, I was like, holy shit. And then it was like, holy shit. And then, it was just on and on and on. And the charging port integrated into the stem, and it's got the hub, and it already comes with a light. And I was like, damn. Like if I was buying it, we covered this on the last podcast. I literally don't have an N+1 right now, but that could be my new N+1. But I don't know what width of tire it covers either. But I just thought it's a very well thought out,
I think
very
that
well
was the
designed bike.
shortcoming. I think it maxed out at 2 inches.
Maybe, but it's a kick-ass bike.
The biggest thing, man, that is, and I probably would have bought a Canyon a while back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to not go through a bike shop.
Yeah, that's part of it.
That's a huge part of it, quite frankly. Make no mistake.
They just opened their first. I was just reading that. Where was it? Just opened their. I had it right here.
All right. You guys talk about that. I'm going to go hit the head real quick.
I think it was on Retail News.
They opened a store in
Cascade, California.
Oh, is that
I believe
where
it
it's
was. Canyon opens first U.S. Experience Center at California Cafe Bike Shop. Oh, Calabasas, California. My bad. Canyon's first U.S. Experience Center is at Peddler's Fork, a combination cafe and bike shop. That's obviously a misprint. In the Calabasas, a city about 30 miles northwest of downtown Los Angeles. So what I'm understanding is this is like a Tesla kind of thing where you can go in, touch, feel, and then order it.
Yep.
I haven't read the extended article, but I really do like the looks of that new, what is it? The
Grizzel Eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good looking. I mean, that's a really cool. Yeah, it's cool. That's really neat. I mean, a bike that comes with a dynamo hub. I'm a little skeptic about the light that they put on it.
Yeah. Well, I noticed last night too.
That's the new Sun hub that I wanted to upgrade that Gabe and I couldn't figure out how to get one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they didn't even have it on. They had it on their website, but they didn't have it to purchase. And his distributor was saying they can't get them. So I don't. Maybe they had already struck a deal with Canyon and they were trying to produce as many as they could. It's good for Sun though, man. I mean, can you imagine that kind of deal that they got for a OEM?
Is it the Escape? Is that what it is?
Yeah, the ESC with Eclipse.
Oh, I found it now. I'm also not sure about the other thing that not sure about is that proprietary bar they put on there.
It looks like a normal bar to me.
No. Oh, no.
No. I'm talking about where it mounts. Like you could take this bar and put it on any bike.
No, it's got a proprietary. If you look at this picture right here, it's an integrated stem bar combo. And it doesn't look like you could put a normal stem and bar on there.
You think that stem is shaped like a football?
I think so.
No, I bet I bet you take that.
I've been wrong so many times.
I bet if you take that top cap off, it's round on the
They're
inside.
calling the weight of this 22 pounds, though. That's pretty baller. But I don't know what size that is, too.
Is that bar composite?
Probably a medium.
Those bars must be composite. They must not be aluminum.
That I don't.
Are we talking about the Grizzel?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not aluminum. It's
I mean, it's got recessed areas for pads for your arms. I mean, that's fucking. I mean, I bet that bar is. Let's get on this.
I think it's that new thermoplastic stuff, like they're making the Revel wheels out of and things like that. I think it is, but I could be wrong.
Here it is. I found it.
It looks freaking cool, man. I would ride one of these.
How about this, Canyon? We will comp an entry to the Rat if you send a factory Canyon rider on the Grizzel for us to check out in person. How about that?
Let's do it.
I really want to see one. I want to check it out.
It's one of the coolest things.
It falls into that N+1.
Yeah, it's
slot.
carbon fiber. Canyon Cockpit CP0050 material, carbon fiber. Weight 0.89 pounds. I like it. Oh, it's a lupine light.
But can you swap it out? Like, if I wanted to use
I don't know.
I don't believe you can.
I think it's
not having the freedom to do that is a little.
Well, I mean, that's the problem with the bar stem combos in general.
No, he's talking about the light. You're talking about.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah.
I probably can't swap that either, would be my guess.
Yeah.
I think
that's all right.
I think it's engineered for that hub and to fit that bar, right?
I'd say for everything you get with this bike, $4,700
sub $5,000
is
everything.
Is about right.
Yeah.
Is it electronic shifting?
No, it is not. It's mechanical.
Okay.
But it's 820, so that's cool.
820. What does that mean?
GRX 820.
Oh,
so that's current. 820 is the top of the line mechanical.
Yeah.
827 is the electronic, the E-shifters. The wheels are kind of meh, and the tires are definitely not what you want for that bike for that purpose, but that's okay.
Well,
But
what is the max tire
Can't
clearance?
change the
54.
wheels.
54?
Okay, so that's 2.1.
You could change the wheel, but you're just going to have to
Then
have
you're
it
going
built.
to lose your dynamo.
You would just have to have it built to that dynamo.
I understand.
You can't. What you're saying is, and I agree, you can't just swap
You
the
can't just
wheels
swap
and then
the
have the
wheels.
same features. Correct. You're going to have to do some work.
If you go that route, you might as well just build up a bike from scratch to begin with.
Yeah. Because
If this one you buy the package, if you don't want the package, it's kind of there's no point.
you won't be
sort of
able
thing.
to sell these wheels at a set, but because your front wheel's going to have a missing hub.
Where do you see that it has a sun?
It's go back to the
It's a Sun Dynamo.
It's the
hub.
third or fourth, fifth, sixth. It's the sixth photo in the carousel.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just
That's
looking
that
at
new
component.
29. It's the new 29S. That's the hub that. Oh, I'd already mentioned that Gabe and I were trying to find. That now apparently does produce enough charge.
Yep.
For all the newer models. Going back to that, what I ended up buying is a Hefe bike. They marketed it as a bikepacking specific external battery because you can trickle charge on it.
Okay.
Most externals you can't trickle charge. You can also pass through charge. The only problem with it is it's heavy as fuck, but it holds a lot of power. So I'm not concerned about not making that modification, that update to the hub. I'll be fine.
Did the Grizzel, did it have the front rack option too, or was I thinking of another bike?
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
It's got the mounting point.
Yeah, it's got the mounting points, and you can buy a front rack for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so like where you guys were going with the pitchfork and the weight distribution, I'm in the camp that I would lean towards
If I were to
front racks
I would
myself.
I would love that.
If
Yeah.
I were to deviate from the traditional parallel bag mounted to your bars, I would not go to the thing that Brad's talking about, and I would go to the tray here. The tray's kind of cool.
So not to make it about Kevin, because that's really not the intent.
I like making it about Kevin.
But my exploration ride yesterday was taking the Brompton on its first real adventure multi-surface ride. But I also included, to see what it was like, putting the bag on the front, which it's a big bag.
Yeah.
But that weight distribution hanging off the head tube down towards the fork, it's like, man, that's a night and day difference between putting something up on the bar and trying to squeeze it between the hoods. And just that one ride yesterday convinced me that if you can do a front rack frame mount of some sort, that's a game changer there. It really is.
I don't think I can do that on my Fargo.
I understand that. If the bike doesn't allow for it, the bike doesn't allow for it, sort of thing.
But I mean, every time I've put weight on my bike, and I've said this 100 times, and I mean it every time, but my Fargo is happier with weight on it. It rides better with weight on it. And there is a handling adjustment period. Like that first ride, when you have weight on your handlebars and you go to turn, the bar wants to flop, kind of. And you just have to get used to it. And it takes one ride, and you're like, oh, okay.
What's flopping?
Do you even listen to this podcast?
No, I was reading
He
something.
was reading stuff.
I can't read.
The weight
I was looking at pictures.
the weight was flopping.
I was looking at pictures.
We're talking about handlebar flop when you have extra weight on the handlebar, sort of thing. So it changes the steering dynamic.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel like I don't feel anything flopping. I can feel the weight pull on it, but I don't.
Well, just
Okay,
for you,
hey.
I'll repeat what I said.
Can you just repeat what you said? I wasn't listening.
I'm going to repeat what I said. When I put my handlebar bag on my Fargo, invariably, the first ride, when I go to turn, it wants to kind of flop over.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a quick adjustment
Yeah,
period.
you
After
get-
the first ride, you get used to it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what I said before.
Thanks for repeating yourself. I got to get a new pronghorn dry bag. I'm waiting for. Right now, I can't remember if I have a small or a medium. I need to measure, but they're out of the medium, and they said that they were trying to get it stocked very soon.
Okay. But as far as everything that goes in your bags, you're set there.
Yeah, I'm
So-
good. I'm
okay.
good. I may update my kit a little bit to have a few more lightweight clothing options.
Understood.
I will tell you something. This is one thing that ended up being the weight and bulk and size might have outweighed the benefit, and that is I bought a pair of the long leggings that zip up, like not just the knee warmers, but the actual full length leg warmers.
Yep.
As opposed to riding with a short pair of bibs and a long pair of bibs, which I know some people do. I ended up going, and those things just don't pack, and I'm not 100% sure how well they work.
I'm probably just going to run knee warmers.
I think that's what I'm going to do is maybe double up on knee warmers, or maybe try to find the thickest ones that I can, because my calves didn't get cold, my thighs didn't get cold, but those things were bulky and they don't fold very well and they're kind of stiff.
Yeah, zippers are never a great idea.
Yeah, and I only wore them
on legs too.
2 days.
Yeah.
Like day 5 and the last day when it was really, really cold.
Here's the thing. I mean, I think for Rat, you could bring all the clothes you think you're going to need, and you still won't have everything you need.
Just depends on the weather, man. It just depends. Like
He's missed everything I've said,
I've packed
about it.
I packed for
Every rat We've had both ends of it.
I know.
I tell you what I will be taking regardless of whether or not I end up using, and that is a full puffy jacket.
Oh yeah, same.
Like you gotta have that right there that's the difference between finishing and not finishing.
Yeah. And I'll probably regret it, but I've never carried a rain layer for my bottom.
No.
Only for my upper.
That said, the leggings that Caleb was talking about, my experience when I rode my rat was I ended up, because of the bulkiness, I just ended up wearing them every day. And even on the warmer days, it really wasn't that bad. Where they made the difference was when we got rained on.
Yeah, the ones that I have,
they actually work pretty well as rain.
they're
pants.
not, mine aren't waterproof. Like they're not,
They don't need
they're
to
not
be.
watertight.
It's like a wetsuit at that
but
point.
it does definitely propel. Yeah, I don't know. Let me rethink it again. Like I'm not off the bike. I'm literally going to I'll probably bring these exact shorts. These just
Oh, I
lightweight,
remember why I started wearing
running shorts, and then a t-shirt.
I started wearing mine on day 3 because of the butt soreness and just the double layer chamois. That was enough to make it.
Yeah, lidocaine ointment. You were going to want that.
See, I've never had saddle sore issues.
Neither have I until I did, and I had to stop
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
And I had to stop at
That's what I'm saying.
a pharmacy in the middle of the race.
You need to do a 3-day long, and see what your butt tells you. We
did the 4R thing, and I never even knew that I had been on a saddle.
I understand.
How long were we on the 4R thing, though? How long were those rides?
Over 3 days, it was 12 hours.
Yeah, but we're going to ride 12 hours in one day.
Yeah, I know.
You need to do 3 days of 10 hours each day.
You don't understand how.
Okay.
Just,
hey, man.
it's like a
I'm not here-
well-worn saddle
I'm
down
not
there.
here to judge your taint. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you that I rode.
don't know.
Leading up to Rat, I think that year I had ridden about 4,000 miles leading up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't hardly have any issues with saddle sores, and I had
There's the key. Didn't hardly have any. That inclines me to think you had some.
Sorry, that was.
I'm telling you,
that was some East Texas talk right there.
I have never had saddle sores my entire cycling.
Then you know what, Brad? Don't take any. I will let you borrow mine when you need it.
That's fair. I take that back.
Here we go.
I did. When we did
That was Caleb.
That was not me.
Arkansas High
Oh,
That was a dog.
Lucy.
Lucy.
It
You
was either
bad girl.
Arkansas High Country or Triple Crown. I did have to put some chamois butter on at one point.
It's also not. Remember I said lidocaine, not necessarily antibiotic. Lidocaine will help with chafing too.
Okay.
Diaper rash cream works the best, though.
Yeah.
The only problem with diaper rash cream is that when you get done to get off the bike, it's very, very difficult to clean up if you don't have like Dawn.
Yeah. Because
Like
it's like zinc.
that's the whole point. Point of it is it doesn't fucking come off. Because I ended up trashing it at a gas station. I brought a tube of Boudreaux's butt paste, and it worked great, but it was just like it fucking was on there for days.
Like paste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like putting fucking
All right.
But the other thing that
bathtub
too,
caulk between your legs.
is there's so many guys like that, especially in the Tour Divide, where they just they steer away from a chamois altogether.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't quite get it either.
I think maybe it
Nipper
goes.
did that too, right?
No, he wore a bib.
Did he?
Yeah, I've seen
can't-
pictures of him wearing a big
Okay.
bib.
I've never seen him not in bibs.
Maybe that's what that goes down to, like genetics and the same thing as being able to be more heat acclimated than any other people. Like some people just have iron taints. I can't imagine.
I have a
But-
pretty iron taint.
But we're also
don't you?
we are back to the. I mean, I know it's not majority single track or anything like that, but the Tour Divide riding is a lot more mountain bike-ish riding and a lot more out of the saddle, a lot more weight shifting, a lot more
That's fair.
repositioning sort of thing.
That's fair.
That does make a big difference in the grand scheme of things.
The other big thing is that you got to do is you just keep your bibs clean.
Yeah.
You see a creek, go dunk your ass in it and get it cleaned out, because getting all that'll help too.
Did you carry an extra set of bibs?
I did, and I'm not going to do that this year, I don't think.
Okay.
I think that's something that I can definitely, I'm going to have to just rely and have, should I say, faith in one pair that they're going to hold up. Never had a pair of bibs fail on a ride.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring one pair.
How new will that one pair be?
I just bought 2 new pairs a couple of weeks ago.
And
They'll probably be nice and broke in by then.
okay.
I just bought 2 new pairs a couple of months ago.
Yeah. My daily, all right, let's talk about, I know we have an email. We have a special email from a special listener.
We do.
Yeah, you sent it to me.
Oh,
Uncle Rich?
Well, it's not time to talk about that yet because Brad doesn't have his shit sorted out.
Oh,
That's
okay.
kind of what I was getting at.
Okay. As far as daily riding, I'm going to ride in pretty much exactly what I was wearing last night, which is a pair of bibs and a wool t-shirt. That's it.
Yeah.
That's going to be my daily ride.
Yeah, I'm probably going to wear a fishing shirt.
Okay.
Like a Columbia.
I will bring a short sleeve wool shirt, and I'm going to bring a long sleeve, one of those Howler Brother tech shirts that I have. Those will be my 2 daily ridings. Those both, they wash and dry really quick. Like you can clean them fairly well. I do need to go through and like lay my clothing out for sure. We should probably do an episode a couple weeks beforehand to go line out pretty
Hey,
much.
North
everything
Shore's
we're doing.
open.
I just saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay, but
here's the thing. You know what I'm more worried about? I'm more worried about that I'm not worried. I have the same mindset right now going into this as what I did Unbound. I'm not stressed. I'm not worried. I'm not freaking out over, do I want to pack this or pack this? I look at it as, and I'm not saying that's a good thing. Like maybe I should have a little more.
I'm in the same boat. Like I keep like having to talk with myself like, I'm not trying to set a land speed record.
No.
And every day, all I have to do is ride my bike.
I'm telling you, it's a completely different feeling when you're not on any other timeline other than getting from point A to point B.
Yeah.
You don't have to be back to take a meeting. You don't
Yeah.
have to be back to take someone somewhere
Yeah.
or go make sure you go do this. Your job is to just pedal.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we decided we were just going to follow the stage
Yeah.
kind of setup.
Yeah.
I like that. you
Yeah.
know?
You're going to get the bug. He says he's not, but he's going to.
what bug?
I told him yesterday, or maybe it was the last time we rode, I was like, you know that like at some point we're going to be getting close to being done for the day, and you're going to go, I want to keep going.
And I told you.
You don't want to try, have you ever, I know you have, that's a dumb question, but you don't want to do a night ride? You don't want to ride through the night and have that awesome shot of dopamine when the sun starts to
I've done that.
lift out of the horizon and you can see it coming up?
No, my whole goal for my introductory rat is, once again, to start.
I know, that was mine. I get it.
And then after that, there'll be a reevaluation. Granted, if I complete it, there'll be a digestion period and going, if I could do it again, this is what I would do. And I would probably move faster and I would pack lighter. And, but what if rain would have happened for 3 days? And, there would be all that kind of stuff. But for right now, my main goals are to use that, camp outside every night, and get a hotel in Tucumcari when I finish.
Yep.
And then call my beautiful wife and have her come pick me up.
Yep.
That's my whole goal. And the fact that we decided that we're going to ride from point A to point B every day, and that's really set my mind at ease. And like I said, I've relinquished to the fact that we're going to wake up, pack up, and all we have to do is ride our bike that day. And I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. Like, I don't have any nerves. I'm more nervous about making sure I have equipment that's not going to let me down. Whether it be bike, and my bike's been beat to hell, and I put that thing through the work. So I'm not worried about my bike. But my shelter system and my bags, I think I'm pretty sorted, but I do want that pitchfork, and I may just order it just to fuck around with it. And if it doesn't work, then I'm not going to order it and make it work.
Yeah.
If I order it and it doesn't work, then I'll go, this isn't going to work. But
I'm really excited about having an on-site mechanic.
I won't have a spanner wrench with me.
Actually,
I won't fucking need one.
we will. So we'll have all the feedback tools.
Yeah.
One little side note, and then let's talk about your tent. I may have a deviation in my. You were talking about plans this year. Let's talk about the plan that I had last year for doing the divide. I think I may want to push that out, and I want to be the first person to complete the Taysha.
That would make me very happy.
That might be my goal.
I want to be there.
You can be there.
That's what I want to do. Is
I think that may be more achievable. And doing the rat, I'm not saying the rat's easy at all, but I've done it several times. And I know what to expect. There's no. I want to do something new that's not quite as long as the Tour Divide to get into the mindset of the survivability.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Taysha is a step up from
the Rat, but it's not the Divide. That's
not
what
the
I'm looking
Divide.
at.
Yeah.
And it's a step up in
Elevation.
it's a
double.
It's a step up in physical requirement to pull it off.
Yep.
It's a step up in logistics. We don't have a town every 35 or 40
Yeah.
miles
Yeah.
for this one. It's a significant step up in scenery, history, and things.
That's what I can't wait,
Yeah.
man. I cannot wait.
It's actually probably 3 steps up from the Rat.
I'm trying to pull is it in your route library? How do you spell it?
Taysha
Yeah, there it is. 100, right at 1,000?
at 1,000.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, it's not double the elevation, but it's
What's the Ellie?
36,
Okay.
And what's the Rat?
22.
Okay.
And
A
what's
third.
And what's the Tour
But
Divide?
look at this, man. The first 700 miles, flat as fuck.
Yeah.
First 700 miles, you're going to fly, and then it starts to get a little, looks like there's only the biggest,
The elevation's all down south.
yeah, the elevation gets really gnarly around, is that marathon? No, it's not quite marathon yet. What is that, Fort Stockton?
Spring's the best time to do that too, right?
Okay, well, let's talk about that.
We don't know.
We don't know yet.
March.
I'm going to have to rely on Kevin. So are you,
Late March.
you don't have a plan for an actual event
November.
of next year?
No, this year.
Is going to be the first, oh, fuck. So if I want to be the first person to do it, I got to do it this November.
But it may or may not happen. Who knows? But that's also going to be, you may be the first person that does it unsupported. How about that?
Yeah. So look here.
We're probably going to, in November, we're probably going to do a Spinistry semi-supported option going down to Spinistry Palooza is the idea. But that won't be the full Taysha because they'll take a detour off the Taysha route to go to Spinistry Palooza because we're not, Spinistry Palooza will not be a Big Bend National Park.
Oh, we're going to be at Buffalo Rock Canyon or whatever.
Buffalo Rock Canyon.
Whatever you called it. The backside.
Yeah.
I got you all messed up.
Yeah.
Black Rock?
We'll
Honeycomb
call
Hideout.
it Honeycomb Hideout.
It looks like the longest distance between stores is Azona and somewhere. I don't know where this is, but it's 126 miles. But you do have a camp.
We've got the Pandale Crossing in between.
So, yeah, so that, God, you're so good at remembering this shit. So there's water there?
Yeah, the Pecos River.
Oh, so you'd have to filter.
No, unless the Pecos flooded and it's gone, there's Pandale Crossings that can't.
Oh, that's only 53 miles.
That's the
okay.
campground.
So do you expect anyone to show up to be able to do the whole thing in November?
I don't know yet. I'm not
But did you hear what he said? Do we have
No.
to repeat everything for you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm an asshole. I was looking at
He
the
said
route.
that nobody will be doing the full route because they're going to deviate from the full Taysha route to go to Spinistry Palooza.
Oh, that's right.
So you won't even.
Well,
if
there's
somebody
not
runs-
much deviation. It's right there.
Yeah, but it's still an asterisk.
Yeah, but they're literally completing more than 7/8 of the route.
okay, but it's not the full
It's
thing.
not 8/8.
It's not 8/8.
It's not 8/8, and it won't be unsupported. Would be my. I doubt anybody does it unsupported, and there might not be anybody that actually does it. The idea is not so much for. Yes, we would love people to do the full Taysha on that trip. The idea will be tag along for the segments that you can tag along. Some people might just do the first weekend and not be going to Spinistry Palooza. Some people might join us in Richland Springs or Brady or something like that and ride the rest of the way. I don't know yet.
Okay.
And it's not going to be 100 people. It's going to be like, if we're lucky, 6 people show up for it sort of thing. We'll see how it goes. And I haven't really even started talking about it yet. I'm going to make Brad do it because we're going to turn it into a chef's kiss thing. So I'm going to make sure he gets paid for it.
Yeah, you don't even have it on the you don't even have it on the calendar.
Not yet. We're getting there.
So
we're getting there.
here's what I'm getting at, Caleb.
Okay, buddy. What's up?
I think we aim for end of March, beginning of April 2026, and we do Taysha. Unsupported.
April 2026?
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you right now, Brad, I'm not doing 110, 120 miles a day.
Okay.
I
You don't have to ride hand in hand with me. I'm just saying we can start at the same time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I have
But then
no
I'm gonna
plans
be-
of beating you.
They don't have to be worried about you. It's not a race. I'm not looking to race it. I'm just saying I may.
You don't have to worry about me. I'm a grown ass
I
man,
know, but
All right.
I love you.
Well,
and I
the
and I
prob-
know
the
how to
problem,
take cranks off.
You motherfucker.
The problem with April,
Rain.
May is going to be rain.
Mhm.
So
I'm not worried about rain.
that's just the mud aspect of it.
Mm.
And that's what I was
I'll
getting
put
at.
fenders on.
Once you get below Abilene area, you're probably okay. But between Oklahoma and Abilene, any of that stuff that gets caught in the rain is going to turn into soup.
Yeah. Remind me where it starts again.
It starts just above 4R up at the Red River there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Between Gainesville and Nakona, there's a crossing at the Red River.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So basically, the idea would be you camp at 4R and
Go up Windmill Hill straight out of the gate.
no, you have to go.
Fucker.
You have to go north from 4R to get to the river.
So by the
It's
timber
at
rattler.
Illinois Bend.
Yeah, it's by Illinois Bend. So.
It's near Rub Bottom, Oklahoma.
I love me some rub bottom girls.
So we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So
I think that's.
and you'll
that's
need
my-
you'll
that's
need
my
a
plan.
tent for that trip, wouldn't you, Brad?
Yeah, you're not. You're finding.
I think if all the cards play right, this tent will be tested by then and either failed or passed. Or I may decide, you know what, this tent is not the thing for me. But right now, this tent is everything I hoped it would be and more.
And more.
Yeah.
But wait, there's more. And what is this tent? One more time.
It's a mouthful. It's a Dursten mid X1
Oh boy.
dome, I think is what it's called. X+1.
X+1.
Yeah, and the +1 is just because it's not quite a one person, but it's not quite, or it's more than a one person, but it's not quite a two person. And so what that means is at the shoulders or at the head area, it's much wider, and it tapers down at the foot area to be like the width of a one person. But the rain fly, which you can pitch separately, and I actually have it, I'll get into this in a second, but it is asymmetrical. So the rain fly is actually like a two person. So you have a built-in vestibule. So the cool thing about it is you can pitch just the tarp or just the tent. But I was thinking that I was going to leave the poles attached, and that's why I put the loops through the poles. But I watched multiple videos since then, and those are actually intended to be guy lines for like high wind. So you can guy line off of those. But I was thinking you could just leave the poles attached and collapse everything, but it turns into a hot mess.
How much headroom did you have sitting up in there, Caleb? Well, it looked like plenty, but obviously.
I think I could set my tent up inside that tent.
It's palatial.
I'm almost like, it's amazing. I'm almost wondering, like, is that too big?
That's
for
what
something what we're getting ready to do?
So I sent Shannon a picture of it. I want to read you exactly what he said because it'll make it even better.
Can you do his voice?
I know I can't do his voice.
Okay, it's okay. We'll pretend we're hearing him.
I can close off one nostril and talk though. I love you, Shannon.
He's listening.
He said, looks big and too comfy. You'll be sleeping in every day.
Oh. Does it matter what you're sleeping in?
Not me.
Yeah, and that's the joke.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's beautiful, and it's so much room on the inside. It's the first labeled ultralight one-person tent that I don't feel like I'm in a coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I picked it up. It's definitely ultralight with poles and everything else.
Yeah, and do you see how short the segments are on those poles, Caleb?
No, you told me they were what?
I think they're
14.
I think they're 11 inches.
11.
Yeah.
It's 2 poles, and plus the cross pole.
It's
Oh no, those are the
Yeah.
the forks.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a badass tent, and you see the clasp for the vestibule piece, those are magnets.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Where it's rolled up.
So adding metal to it won't make it heavier at all.
All right. So now I am curious.
Mhm.
You need to pack it down. We need to see how small this packs down.
Okay.
Are you able to do that?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
One thing I want to bring up, again, this is just planting, not seeds of doubt, but just for things for you to think about. Is this thing too complex to set up after you're on your 5th day of riding 120 miles a day?
I'm going to say this again because you didn't hear this. I've only set it up a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I have it set up incorrectly right now. You see the loops that I have running through the poles?
Yeah.
My original thought process was to leave the poles attached to the whole thing. Just undo the clips and undo the end tabs where the poles actually stick down into the corners, and then collapse the whole thing down with the tent still attached. But that becomes, it's a hot mess by the time you get it all wadded up.
Yeah.
But that was one of my, because
So those are loops, not clips, or the clips?
Both.
there's loops
There's the
and
loops,
clips.
and then the clips over the top.
But the loops are intended to be guy lines for if you're set up in strong storms.
they're not necessarily meant to go through the tent poles.
I've watched multiple videos.
Oh, okay,
since then.
okay. So for attachment to the poles, it's just the clips.
Yes, it's just the clip.
That okay.
I
that makes me
screwed that
feel.
up.
That makes me feel. Okay, now I follow. You did say it, and it wasn't registering.
Yeah. So that's incorrect right now.
Okay, but as far as attaching the rainfly, it's just clips. So that's quick and easy. That's no big deal.
And so,
what
so
about
the whole premise is
what about the guy lines from the tent to the pole at the corner?
that's just to secure that corner because the corner of that tent doesn't run all the way to the out.
Right,
the
but
outside.
is that just a unadjustable strap that you just tension it, or is that?
Which one are you talking about?
Well, I'm seeing this one here. It looks like it's just a strap on this corner, but that looks like it's a guy line over there.
It is because it has to reach from that corner to the pole.
That's what's stretching out the foot box.
No, I understand that. What I'm getting at, so every time you set that up, you do have to set guy line tension for that.
No, it's preset. I mean, I haven't messed with it since I set it up.
Okay.
I didn't even mess with
I'm
it.
not
when I set it up.
criticizing. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to understand the setup.
I think the most complicated thing about it, and it's really not even complicated because the pole assembly, if you will, if you can just disconnect it with your brain and turn it around 180 degrees, it's exactly the same.
Right.
So it's
right.
just a matter of laying, because when I disconnect the poles and everything from it, the tent stays connected to the rainfly. And then you can just drop the whole thing down, compress it, roll it up, and then pack it with the poles. And so when you get ready to deploy it, you just spread your tent out, your rainfly essentially out, and then you extend all your poles, lay it on top, and put your corners in, and then connect all your clips.
Okay, so you're putting the corners in the rainfly? Is that what you're doing?
And the tent.
So when you set up the poles,
This is great for radio.
that's why I'm trying to walk. When you set up the poles initially, you put the poles in the grommets at the rainfly essentially, and
yeah, because when I first set it up, it wasn't connected. So I set up the rainfly first, and then I crawled in there and attached the tent onto the interior.
So it basically works like a traditional dome tent would, but the rainfly's inside of it instead of outside of it, essentially. Yes.
Yes, it's not a rainfly second deployment. You can deploy the rainfly first or only.
Okay. Can you do tent only, or do you? Okay.
You can do tent only as well.
Okay. And so then it's just a bug screen at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I do like is the split zipper.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot easier for us biggins to get in and out of there.
Yeah.
Did you notice that, Kevin? So there's actually 3 zippers. There's one that goes up. There's one that goes from the middle to the left, and then there's one from the middle to the right. So it's actually like a 3-way. So getting into that, I zipped it up that direction.
I did see that.
And that was easy in and out.
So what's the reason for the zipper going to the right? Just to have
so you can access your vestibule.
Okay.
Oh, without doing
Okay.
the whole, without getting
Okay.
the whole thing out.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
That's
That
smart.
makes sense.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
That makes sense. So the way the vestibule works on this, where it narrows from the shoulders to the feet, basically the rainfly vestibule is at the foot end.
Here, I'll go ahead and break it down real quick.
Okay, and let me see.
You're gonna have to bear with me though, because I've only done it 0 times.
Okay, so this will be this is your first teardown of it. Okay,
You admit,
It's doing this with me because I've got to take this.
that's all right. I'm not worried about the speed and efficiency of the teardown. Like I said, the main thing I was just wanting, what does it pack down to, is the main thing I was wanting to see at this point.
while he's doing this in the post, will you put in the Benny Hill theme song?
We're not videoing this time around. We'll video all of y'all's stuff once we have a better idea of what everybody, because it sounds like Brad still has a bunch of stuff to get together for this trip, but you're pretty much set with what goes inside your bags, and you're pretty much set with your bike. Right now, you're just at finalizing the bags themselves.
Yeah.
Did I hear you correctly there?
Yeah, my biggest level of effort is swapping out a saddlebag and then just choosing the right things to
And
bring.
deciding what you are going to
I don't
put
think
in
I'm going to
in
have
those
to buy
bags.
anything.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. So it's just a decision of what you already have that's going on this particular trip. And is it fair to say that you'll be flexible enough that if there is definitive weather likelihoods, that you may adjust even up until the last minute if needed? Like,
Yeah.
If we
Yeah.
know there's going to be snow, you might go a slightly different direction on what you pack, or at that point it doesn't matter.
Yeah, at that point, I'll look at thicker gloves. That'll be the first thing I'll do. I have a pair of ski gloves.
That reminds me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I forwarded this one to you or not. There is evidently a bike shop in Denison. Somebody messaged me on that one. There is a bike shop in Denison.
Yeah.
Because Brad and I were talking about there's no bike shops along
None.
the route.
Yeah.
But there is one in Denison. After Texarkana, now Denison, there's one too.
Look how short those tent poles are.
I guess
That is
technically there's
fucking
one.
Amazing.
I think there's technically one still left in Paris. I'll have to double check on that now that I think about it. I know the Paris shops had some issues during the COVID era, like a lot of places did.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll be the bulk of my packing, is just deciding at the last minute what the clothes are going to be, and then I'll probably will pack some what if clothing items.
So you said you recently picked up a couple sets of bibs, couple pair of bibs.
Yep.
Are those your traditional Big Pig bibs, or
No.
something else?
Well,
What is your bib of choice these days?
I needed a couple of new pair just because I hadn't bought bibs in years. I still have a pair of the Pearl Izumi Pro bibs, which are chamois amazing, but man, those bibs don't breathe. They're hot. They're so hot. The fabric is thick. That's probably why they last so well. So I wanted to find a pair that had that were a little thinner, a little more ventilation for the summer. So I ended up going with I bought 2 pairs of adventure bibs from the Black Bibs.
Okay.
Because I've heard nothing but good things from, I think you.
Yeah.
Are you a Black Bibs fan?
Oh,
Right?
I'm huge.
Obviously.
I was the one that introduced the world to the
Okay.
black bibs.
And then obviously McCafe is a big
Yep.
proponent of it. So
all those Spinistry kits we did back in the day when we were doing all those
Yeah.
Spinistry kits and jerseys. All right, so there's
Yeah.
the poles.
This comes apart too.
yeah. Oh, is that the shoulder?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right, so it packs more efficiently.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what are we doing here?
Oh
You're making a mess. It's like pickup sticks now.
man, I'm gonna have my tent
Oh,
poles.
careful! You're gonna hurt. You could put an eye out that way. Good God, Bradford!
Assault.
Holy hell!
That's the only problem with a forked setup, is that you've got that odd ass thing in the middle that uses so much space. Do these come out? Sometimes they do.
Those usually
No,
come
they
out.
don't. They're
Not on that one.
grommeted in.
All right. So I mean, yeah, play with that on the regular and figure out the best way to pack that. All right, you can set that off to the side because that's going to pack differently, and you will
Yep.
at that point. But going back to the black, so you went with their adventure bibs.
Yeah, I like them.
Have you ridden those before, or is this
This is my first
Okay.
foray into black bibs.
I haven't done the adventure
'em.
bibs yet. The adventure bibs, those are the ones with the side pocket,
Yep.
right? I've wanted to try those. They came out with earlier this year, they came out with a new, I think they call it their ultimate bib.
Yeah, I think they're sold out.
Are they?
My size. That was the problem with that.
Those are amazing. You were talking about breathability. Oh, my God.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
Yep.
Where's the bag?
Oh, it's in the garage.
What?
Hold that.
But I wouldn't use the bag anyways.
It's not a compression bag.
All right.
I mean, it'll get smaller.
It'll definitely get smaller than that. Let me see.
Let's see digital.
Okay. This will get down to the size smaller than a Nerf football, bigger than a softball.
It's a volleyball.
It's probably smaller because I'm not compressed all the
Okay.
way. That's what I'm saying. It would get down to not softball size.
Football.
Oh, definitely smaller than a football.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that could definitely work in the pitchfork setup.
Could you put this in a system similar to your hammock or your ring fly and snake it?
I don't think so.
Well, because
He said he didn't think so.
Okay.
I had to say that because he's not mic'd. All right. After teared,
No, it's wet, but it's 1,028 grams.
I don't know what that is.
2 pounds, 4.3 ounces.
Oh, all right. So that's poles.
Well, let's see what the
That's
claim is.
poles, lines, and tent and rainfly. Basically, no stakes, no bag.
This is a
2 pounds, 4 ounces. Is that what you said?
Dursten X Dome 2.
No.
No, what do you have?
X-Dome Mid 1 Plus.
What the fuck? Could they not have had less names?
X Dome Mid 1 Plus.
All right. X Dome Mid Pro 1, X Mid 1, 2, X Mid 1. Is that what you said?
That's what I heard was X Mid 1 Plus.
There isn't an X Mid 1 Plus. There's a Pro 2 Plus. X Mid, you got the Pro 1, huh?
No. X-Dome Mid 1 Plus.
It's just X Dome 1 Plus. There's no
X-
mid.
Okay. X-Dome 1 Plus.
Okay.
X Dome 1 Plus.
You got the regular, and we said it was 2.4. And what are they claiming here? Where's the...
This is great radio.
This is amazing. How many ounces was that?
It was 2 pounds, 4 ounces.
Well, they have it in ounces and grams.
Okay, so how many ounces?
34.6.
So that's 2 pounds, 2 ounces, or 2 pounds, 3 ounces.
So they had it
Close.
within an ounce.
Close.
Half an ounce. Oh, that's pretty good.
Okay. Accurate claimed weight. I'll go with that because, like Brad said, his has some humidity on it as well. So there's probably a.
The included stakes are... Brad, did you get the 4x6 or 4x8? They're...
He probably got those look like.
Those are 6. Yeah? Those are 8. Those are 8s.
Those are 8s.
They're 16 grams apiece. Typical setup is 1035. That would make sense with what he measured plus the stakes. So they got it accurate.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
Let's get my measurements.
I like what I'm seeing. Oh, and he's setting it back up while we're talking. And so basically everything. Now this is your first. So this is your first tear down and first reset. And so he's got all 4 poles in the corners. He's got the hoop set up. He's doing the crossbar now as the first clip. And now he's just clipping down the right side poles already installed.
I have a quick question.
So, oh no, he hasn't clipped in the feet of the tent yet.
If a tent is rated a 3 season, what are said 3 seasons?
Typically speaking, the 3 season will either exclude winter or summer. Usually by the type of tent, you can figure out which one it is. And with an ultralight tent like this, I would say the fourth season would be winter excluded.
Yeah.
Would be my guess. And when winter, and I don't remember the specifics, but winter is something like below 20 degrees is what it has to qualify for. It may even be lower than that, qualify for a winter rating. Doesn't mean it can't be used in freezing temperatures, but to qualify for a winter rating, it has to go to be recommended for a very specific
Okay.
temperature level,
All right.
sort of thing.
Yeah. So if you buy one that's a 4th season, you're going to bake in the summer. Is what that means.
If it's rated for 4 season, that means that it could be okay. Okay, so we didn't time it. I would say
That's
definitely
3 minutes.
Yeah, definitely less than 5 minutes, probably in the 3-minute range there, and you're not well versed at it at this point.
Are you breathing hard?
So all the corners and tent stuff went back together real easily. No issues there. No readjustments. Yep. No, I understand. Oh, I'm sorry.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And
Now,
Brad's back.
Ideally, I would have had the vestibule closed. I think that would have made it a little easier to fold up and
The zipper zipped and the vestibule undone from the rainfly. Is that what you're saying?
No, I would have that zipped all the way down. So basically, the rain fly is fully intact instead of flailing around.
I thought that's what I just said.
Are you more of a roasted or a sautéed vestibule fan? How do you like your vestibules?
Well, I like to blanch them first. Blanch them and shock them.
A lot of work.
Yeah, but it makes a great impact on the overall end product.
So
Okay.
I guess that brings up the question: what's the ventilation situation on this?
Oh, I didn't show you that. That's one of my favorite parts. Watch this.
Okay,
Oh, here we go.
More magnets.
more magnets for ventilation purposes.
Guess who it has on the rainfly itself?
The rainfly itself.
It has
Oh, okay. All right.
Look at that.
All right. The rainfly itself has the ventilation vents.
He's got fart vents.
Okay.
Nice.
Now, so how about the non-door side? Actually, turn it when you get a chance. Turn it around. Let me see the back side of the tent, please.
Turn it around. Let us see the dump truck.
All right. So the rainfly does go all the way to the ground on the back side. Is there any way to increase ventilation on that side? Okay. So you can't partially raise the back. All right. So maybe some ventilation issues with this one.
you could do this if you wanted to. I don't know.
No, it doesn't look like you can.
I haven't done a deep dive on
No, I understand. I'm just saying.
I would pull it out further and
working out
wind come from underneath.
What I'm getting at is
No one knows what
you probably have to do. It looks like it's a rainfly on or off. There's not really. It doesn't look like there's a.
Yeah, I mean, you could roll up the vestibule sides, and open the vent from the top, and that seems to be it.
Okay, so yeah, ventilation is just door side and the vents on the top. The non-door side is going to be a solid wall, regardless, which isn't the end of the world. But yeah, if you want full ventilation,
Oh, hello.
there we go.
I'm planning on working out my ground sheet, and I may do a temporary tieback setup, at least for now,
Let's try it out.
and hopefully sleep in it this weekend if I can figure out a temporary sleeping pad situation. Just more so I can get a feel for the space, the ventilation, and the functionality, getting in and out of the tent, that
Understood.
kind of stuff.
Understood.
I mean, it's been 5-6 years. No, that's not true. I was going to say it's been 5-6 years since I've slept in a tent, but I slept in that excruciating one-person tent that Red loaned to me that was a end entry, which was a nightmare.
I made that mistake once.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, it's been years since I've slept in a tent. But my other thought process is there may be nights where we just throw down a ground sheet, sleeping pad, and sleep outside. Might not even put the tent up if the weather looks good.
So and I apologize, I'm
No,
not
you're good.
up to speed. So if you were opting to go with just the tent and not the rainfly, what's the process to separate the rainfly and the tent itself?
Right now, and it's hard for me to describe it very well, but right now on the inside of the rainfly, there are clips that the tent clips to.
Like the snap buckles?
Yep, like a little snap buckle. And then in the event that you're going to run it tent only, you would unclip that, and then there's a female to that male. And so it would go around the pole and clip to itself.
Okay. I follow completely.
Yep.
And
So-
is it like 2 on each leg, or
So everywhere that has a clip that attaches to
everywhere
the
the
pole,
rainfly has a clip that
Yeah, if
attaches
you-
to the pole, there's
if you look at this one that's
a
closest to
corresponding
you,
buckle on
yes.
the tent.
If you look at this one's closest to you, you can actually see the shadow of the tent
Yep.
connected on the
I see it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I like this tent.
but it would be much easier to set this up just like it is and then decide you don't want the tent in there and remove the tent out.
I understand.
Yeah.
That's why I asked the question. It looks like that's the situation.
Yeah. I'm not sure how clumsy it would be, like, to take it from this point, or even if it was this point and the poles weren't connected, and take the rainfly apart from the tent and then deploy just the tent. You would obviously have to figure that out before you start setting it up. I don't know. I haven't messed around with
No,
it
I get
enough.
it. I get it. I get
But I
it.
still am really happy with this so far. I haven't slept in it. I've only jacked with it. That was literally like the third time I've set it up.
And what's the price point on this tent again?
I think it was $469.
So sub 500.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like a winner. Definitely looking to hear more feedback.
It was a long game waiting on it too.
Well, gents, we are 2 hours plus into this. Is there
Yeah.
anything else important we need to cover, or do
I've
we
gotta
need to
go,
let
too.
Brad do what Brad needs to do?
Yeah.
Brad's got to go do things.
I gotta go look at this space.
Space isn't real, buddy. Don't you know?
This bill legalizes sawed-off shark guns.